Alexandra Holley. The piece you are hearing is La Primavera from the Four Seasons. The Four Seasons is one of Antonio Vivaldi's most widely known compositions. According to the Antonio Vivaldi biography from the Encyclopedia website, the Four Seasons was wrote from around 1717 to 1721. Music and Appreciation by Robert Camion says that Vivaldi was a towering figure of the late Italian Baroque. I personally enjoy listening to Vivaldi's music. It is my pleasure and privilege to commemorate the classical European composer Antonio Vivaldi. The biography website says that the famous composer was born Antonio Lucio Vivaldi on March 4, 1678, in Venice, Italy. This article points out that Vivaldi learned how to play violin at a very young age from his father Giovanni Battista Vivaldi. His father was a professional violinist and taught not only Antonio but all of his sons. And through his father, Vivaldi was able to meet some of the most well-known musicians in Venice. The biography website also points out that although Vivaldi was an exceptional violinist, he could not play any wind instruments because of his chronic shortness of breath. The article Vivaldi Antonio 1678-1741 by Wendy Heller and Mark Kroll on the Encyclopedia website says that this shortness of breath was most likely bronchial asthma. The Encyclopedia website also says that this illness affected his priesthood as well. Vivaldi was ordained a priest in 1703 when he was 25 years old. And because of his red hair, Vivaldi was known as Il Prete Rosse. This article explains that this translates to the Red Priest. He got this name because he actually had red hair when he was younger. Now that I've told you a little bit about his early life, I'm going to tell you some about Vivaldi's early career. The Encyclopedia World Biography website shows that in the fall of 1703, Vivaldi accepted his first job as a violin teacher at the Ospedale della Pieta in Venice. According to the Music and Appreciation textbook, Pieta was an institution for orphaned or illegitimate girls in Venice. He became the conductor of this all-girl orchestra at the institution only a few years after he started teaching. The textbook says that Vivaldi composed most of his works during this time specifically for this orchestra. So it's safe to say that this is the reason that the Encyclopedia of World Biography website points out that the orchestra gave many amazing concertos and had an international reputation. But not only did he teach, but during those 3 decades he also traveled to many places and worked for a number of different people. According to the biography website, in places such as Mantua and Rome, Vivaldi held short-term jobs. Mantua is actually where he wrote The Four Seasons. The biography website also says that he had jobs for members of important royal families, such as King Louis XV and Emperor Charles VI. Vivaldi wrote a specific piece just for King Louis's wedding, and Emperor Charles actually named him a knight. Over these 3 decades, Antonio Vivaldi composed over 700 operas, sonatas, and concertos. The textbook states that he composed about 450 concerto grossi and solo concertos. He used multiple instruments in his pieces, such as the flute, piccolo, bassoon, cello, mandolin, and mainly the violin. In the textbook, Roger Camion says that his fast movements feature tuneful themes in vigorous rhythm, and his slow movements have impassioned lyrical melodies that would be appropriate. However, Vivaldi's most widely known concerto is La Primavera from the Four Seasons. The Four Seasons is program music composed of 4 concertos: spring, summer, fall, and winter. The textbook defines program music as instrumental music associated with a story, poem, idea, or scene. Each concerto in the piece depicts sounds and events associated with each of the different seasons. The descriptive effects of the music in each concerto not only go along with the images and ideas of the actual seasons, but go along with the sonnets that precede each of the 4 concertos. Spring has 3 movements: fast, slow, and fast. Also, Spring was Vivaldi's most famous concerto, not only in our time, but in his time as well. Music and appreciation tells the story of King Louis XV wanting his violinist to play Spring as an encore. And although the solo violinist did not have the orchestra to back him up, a group of nobles helped and the piece was still performed beautifully. In conclusion, Antonio Vivaldi was the most renowned Baroque violinist, composer, and teacher. His pieces were played all over Europe and still continue to be listened to even today. Vivaldi never needs to be forgotten, and although he and his music were forgotten for a while after his death, on July 28, 1741, he still had a huge impact on music. Johann Sebastian Bach was one of the composers that he worked as influence. Not to mention, he changed my perspective on music during my music appreciation class.